turned into a business, and we've had a lot of good people along the way help me out. My grandfather taught me what I learned, but then I had a gentleman named Pete Kamer. I don't know if you guys know who Pete Kamer is. He's a consultant in the industry, and he came to my house, which I think he thought was a distillery, but it was in my garage, and he taught me a lot. And then Rob from Vendome, he introduced me to Firm Solutions, and they helped me really like improve the yeast and use some of their science and technology. So it took us over 4 years to develop our recipes. We decided we wanted to do it right, so we started putting barrels away at the end of 2014, early 2015. We came up with our first product in 2019, and we wanted to have at least a 4-year product, and we didn't really go like crazy and try to promote it too much. You know, sure, COVID happened, kind of things happened the way they did, but now our product is a 5-year product, or is a 5-barrel, 5-batch old Americana, small batch rye and small batch bourbon, and then everything else we're going to do is single barrel. We really want to be a high quality, give value to our customers, give the best price that we can. We spent 4 years developing the packaging. We really want it to be something special that you're proud of, to have on your shelf, and not only enjoy it during special occasions, but something that you can enjoy, you know, throughout the year. And so we have bottles at, you know, different price points, and we have different recipes. What we had today is our rye bourbon, and we're going to have a wheated bourbon coming out at some point in time. And we have a low rye, a high rye, and my signature, I like Scotch and I like bourbon. I think they're both great. So I took 51% corn and worked with the balance of malted barley, and we smoked it. And it just is very, very different and unique. And so our next single barrel select that we're doing is going to be at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. They selected us to be one of the 11 that they're showcasing. So it's a pretty big deal for us. Thank you. I mean, it's just been I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, it just feels amazing to have people really enjoy what we're doing and all the effort. And it's not just me, it's my whole team and the people that I work with. I'm just very thankful and proud that you guys enjoy what we're doing, and I'm very happy to be here. So I'm trying to make it quick, so I know we're kind of running behind on time, but I can keep going if you like. But thank you again, everybody, and thank you to Steve and Ed and everybody else here. So thank you. And Brett, too, the owner of the place. Thank you.
Luca, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming. Luca's dad, Francesco, thank you very much. Ciao Bello, thank you. Okay, everybody okay? Anybody nervous? Besides me?
All I see is right here, pretty loud.
I'm not trying to be on camera yet.
Oh, you on? You're on.
Bernie, we're going to start in 3 or 4 minutes. Come on up. Everybody welcome Bernie Lubbers from Heaven Hill. Bernie.
Take a teeny step back.
If I put it here, you hit down like that. Steer back. I'll steer.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought
start whenever you're ready. Roll hug it over there. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to start now. First of all, this is audience participation. For some of you, this is complicated, so if you came in with somebody, I only want one person to answer. But start over at this table. If you're not from Louisville, raise your hand and yell out where you came in for to see this event and to get your Luca bottle. If you're not from Louisville, give me a city in Alabama. It's a big state, Huntsville. All right, come on, yell it out loud. Don't be polite. Yell it out. Boston, Wisconsin, South Carolina, North Carolina, the rich side of South Carolina, right, Steve-O? Brad, where are you from? Bunker Hill, Indiana, Ashland, Kentucky, I'll just do it. Come on, yell out. Where are y'all from? Mobile, Indianapolis, Springfield, Tennessee, Columbus, Ohio, the poor side of Little Rock, Mobile, Alabama, Michigan, Pikes Point,
California's in the house too.
the guy, Messi and Pablo, California, Oakland, California, Tampa, Florida, Danville, Kentucky, Dayton, Ohio, Henderson County, where else? Baton Rouge, St. Matthews, Detroit. We've got folks in from all over the country for this. This is out of control, but we are so glad you're here, and we are really, really excited to have you here. So I've got some couple things. Number one is social media. The only way we're going to keep growing this club is through social media. I want to encourage all of you, take pictures, take videos, post them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever social media you're on. Tag the Big Bourbon Club. We want as much action as we can get on this thing, so we appreciate your help there, right? The Women's Task Force. For all you ladies out there, we have a women's club within the Big Bourbon Club called the Women's Task Force. Who's coming up here? Who's coming up here? Come on, Jennifer. So for all you ladies out there, this is Jennifer Michael out of Columbus, and she's going to speak for a second about what we're trying to do with the ladies, and specifically with her distillery, Watershed.
How's everybody doing? So we are just about to have some bourbon, so I think we're probably doing pretty good this afternoon. I just want to tell you I'm a bourbon nerd. I've been drinking bourbon for about 9 years. I got into the Big Bourbon Club after the first of the year, and the ladies recently invited me to join the Women's Task Force. This is a group that is pretty special. We want to make women feel comfortable around bourbon. It's not your daddy's bourbon anymore. It's not your grandpa's bourbon anymore. It's not your husband's bourbon. And ladies have a special, a little bit of specialized abilities over the husbands, because we cook. We know what we're putting into our food. We know how we spice it. We know what we're looking for when we want to spice something up. You have more olfactory cells than men do, and you have abilities to be able to pick out a nose, a palate, a flavor, or a finish that men aren't going to be able to pick up. So, you can definitely get involved in this group no matter what level you're in. We want people to be connected with other resources of supportive women across the United States. As Steve said, there's over 3,000 members in the group. So women, I definitely strongly encourage you to join the Women's Task Force. We are going to be doing something for the very first time in September in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to be doing a ladies single barrel pick. We still have some tickets available, so if you're interested, come join us. It's going to be pretty fun. We're going to take 20 people, and it's going to be a ladies only barrel pick. We do also, we're going to be giving a tour for the men as well. We've still got some tickets available for the guys if you want to join. But the ladies will be participating in the barrel pick. So if you're interested in joining the Women's Task Force, come see me. Shoot me your name, your email, cell phone, and we'll get you all hooked up. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Janelle, I was hoping we could introduce everybody to that Ashland accent, but we'll get you up next time. All right. So I've had this question asked of me 100 times. What is the app and what is the website? Okay. We have a website, BigBourbonClub.com, and it's a traditional website. And we have an app, a proprietary app just for the Bourbon Club. It looks like Facebook if you're not on it. But think about, anybody in here have a mullet? Hey, Francesco, come here, man. No, I'm just joking. But think of Francesco's hair when you think of the app and the website. The website's all business. The app is all party. It's like a mullet. It's all business in the front, party in the back, right? The place to purchase tickets for an event, to order a barrel pick, to do commerce is on the website. All business. The party, the fun, the social aspect is on the app. It's real simple stuff. But to sign up for the app, it's bigbourbon.club. Bigbourbon.club. The website is bigbourbon.club.com. Two different things. It's like Francesco's hairdo. I told Francesco earlier, I said, I wish I had a bad hair day like that every day. That's a good hair day where I come from. But the app, get on the app, participate. We're having about 300 impressions on it a day from you all posting pictures, responding, and all the monkey business that we do. It's going crazy, and we're really growing this thing. Another message. So on the BigBourbonClub.com, the website, we have a merchandise store. So examples of the best sellers. We've got shirts, we've got golf shirts, we've got Glencairns, all sorts of stuff. We have a code for today only up until midnight. You get 15% off. If you want to get a shirt, I've had probably 8 people say, I want to get this one. Today's the day to do it to save a little bit of money, but if you order it online, it'll be shipped to you at your house, and the code is Big Top Shelf. Big Top Shelf, today only on the merchandise store, okay? And so really, that's about it. So let's turn it over to Heaven Hill. Bernie Lovers. Bernie's going to rep forever with Heaven Hill, and he's going to take us through it.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Go get him.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me here. My name is Bernie Lovers. I am known as the Whiskey Professor. I work for Heaven Hill Distillery out of Louisville, Kentucky, and Bardstown, Kentucky. I say both cities because our distillery is down in the California neighborhood here at 17th and Breckenridge, right next door to Brown-Forman's campus right down there. And then our main facilities, bottling and shipping and all that, is down in Bardstown, Kentucky. And almost all of our aging warehouses are down there. So the reason we're here in Louisville, anybody have an idea why we have a distillery in Louisville and not Bardstown? Fire, that's right, the fire in 1996, right? Who remembers the fire? If you lived in Kentucky, here in Louisville, you knew about the fire. Everybody remembers where they were on November 7th, 1996. It's kind of like the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, or 9/11, or the day that New Direction broke up, One Direction. Remember where you were, right? Yeah, it was the worst distillery disaster in history, and it's really, we don't like to remember that day, but we do like to remember that we did survive it, and we did survive it because of the whole industry. That's a great story. So I describe Heaven Hill as the Reno, Nevada of distilleries. We are the biggest little distillery in the world. Reno's in the shadow of Las Vegas, but they're the biggest little city in the world. We're the biggest little distillery because we are big. We make Evan Williams, the number 2 song. Who has a handle of Evan Williams at home right now? Yeah. Shit, yeah. That's why I say it's what people drink at home, right? And COVID, you guys were thirsty as hell. You ran us out of 175 size sock. So, yeah, and it's still going up. It's amazing. Number 2 selling bourbon in the world. A lot of people, I go around the country and I say it's number 2 selling, and they go, what? And I go, yeah. And I'm like, well, what's number 1? And I'm like, well, Jim Beam is number 1. And we're not going to catch them, by the way. They're way the hell ahead of us, so it's okay. It's not, but we're bigger. It means we're kind of proud of it. So we are bigger than like Bullet and Wild Turkey and Maker's Mark. And people would think that Maker's Mark is bigger than us, but Evan Williams, but it sells more. It's crazy. We have right now in Louisville, we have the world's largest single-site bourbon distillery. For now, I think Buffalo Trace, when they finish, they'll be bigger than us. But for right now, we can brag that we have the #1 single site. Today, we're going to make 1,500 barrels just today. And we do that every day. We do that every day, 50 weeks a year. That's crazy. We make about 400,000 barrels a year. If you're counting for cost of barrels, that's about $70 million in wood just for barrels. It's pretty crazy. Today, we will grind up and mill 1 million pounds of grain. That's crazy, right? We're big, but we're also small because we're still family owned and family operated by the same family that started us in 1935. That's pretty damn cool, right? Yeah, the Shapira family owns us. Max Shapira, he's second generation owner and our president. He is about 77 years old. I don't even think he minds me telling people. He is a cool guy. He is a real low key, but he is truly an icon of the industry, just like Sidney Frank was, or Sam or Edgar Bronfman was. This guy, he's just one of the amazing he's not a distiller, but as a distillery owner and businessman, he's got one of the most working knowledges of the spirits industry that I know of. He is second generation. His son Andy, his daughter Kate, both went to Ballard High School, where I went, down the street. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a cool family. I texted. Max called me last week, and Andy texts me about every day. That feels kind of small, you know. And we're a big company. Pretty neat. So we make what makes us different is and everybody in the industry does a great job. I mean, and the only way that we can build this industry and have this kind of excitement and people coming from different states and different cities, you know, as I describe it, you can't be Napa Valley with one winery, right? It just doesn't work that way, right? So we love other distilleries. We love to see people starting up distilleries. We love to see people going big too. That's exciting, right? That means a lot of tourism, a lot of people coming, and we absolutely love it, right? We also, so the way I look at it, because people say, what makes you different? Because we are regulated by the United States government. You know, everybody I remember when I first started doing this in 2005, I had to tell people what bourbon was and what the laws were, right? And you really had to go slow, and like it has to be 51% corn, and you got to use a brand new barrel. Well, now people are kind of beyond that. You know, they kind of know that as you come in and things like that. And we are regulated. And so if we're all kind of making the same stuff and making it well because it's well regulated, so the quality is going to be there, what makes you different, right? And now, because there are a lot more folks, when I started in 2005, there were 10 distilleries in Kentucky. Now there's about 70. That's just in 15, 16 years. Right? There are 2,300, I think that's about the number I get from some folks from the American Distilling Institute, and that is about 2,300 craft distillers that didn't exist in 2005. Just think, if they all make 2 labels, that's 5,000, 6,000 labels of American whiskey on the landscape. Wow, right? So that's why we talk about how we do it and what we do. And I kind of call that house style, because I kind of like that term. You know, the tequila makers use it, cognac makers use it. Think about tequila. There's hundreds of distilleries, and they're all making Blanco tequila for the most part. That's unaged. To me, that's damn moonshine, right? And they have wonderful differences, and it's because of house style. So it's our house style that makes this different. In Heaven Hill, it's pretty simple. Just it comes down to a couple words. First of all, we're family owned. So family owned, how does that come into house style? Well, we don't have stockholders breathing down our necks, right? So we can do things that most of our other main larger competitors We do things that they choose not to do or can't do because they're stockholder held and have to push a number on 1 or 2 brands all the time. It's a lot of pressure. So we do things different. We don't just make a bourbon. We make 2 different recipes of bourbon. We make a corn whiskey, a wheat whiskey, and a rye whiskey. So we make 5 different recipes of American whiskey. That's different. Then our competitors, bourbon and rye whiskey and American whiskey, you have to make it today and sell it 4, 5, 6 years in the future. So that's waiting a long time. So our main competitors have to get it out quicker, right? Because they got those stockholders to make happy. So what we do after that is we typically keep our bourbons and our whiskeys in the barrel a little bit longer than our main competitors. And then we add less water to it into the bottle, because when you're aging it longer, it gets a little more flavor. And then when you put less water in it, it keeps that flavor there. So when you think of Heaven Hill across the board, think of longer and stronger. Okay? And that's basically our house style. Okay? So our mainline offering, which is Evan Williams, the Black Label, which a lot of you all have a handle of at home right now, that's aged for 5 years in the barrel, and then it's bottled at 86 proof. Our main competitors are usually at 80 proof and 4 years old. Okay? Our Larceny, which we're going to be tasting here in a couple minutes, they're coming around and pouring it to you. That is Larceny bourbon. That is a wheated bourbon mash bill, 68% corn, 12% malted barley, and 20% wheat. Similar mash bill. There's only a handful of wheated bourbons on the market. Can you name them? I named the one with Larceny. Wilderness Trail makes one. Buffalo Trace is rye. But they make Weller, which is wheat. They also make Pappy Van Winkle, which everybody has a handle of that on their bar at home. Okay. Maker's Mark. We're running out. Okay. Rebel, David Nicholson. We're about done. Old Elk, a few more. Interesting. 5,000 labels of American whiskey. There's only 8 or 10 bourbons made with wheat. Why is that? Any ideas? No, not really. No, Pappy Van Winkle's been around since, Old Fitzgerald's been around a long time. Weller's been around a long time. I got a theory of how wheat came into the equation. I don't know if I'm right. Sometimes you gotta make your own damn decision, right? You gotta read books. You gotta be around. You can do that. Shit. So I think right now we're growing corn. Corn's the #1 thing, right? That's what makes bourbon, right? That's why we have Corn Island in the middle of the Ohio River, even though it's underneath the water. That's Corn Island. We have a lot of damn corn around here. That's why our whiskey's different than the rye whiskeys up north and the barley whiskeys from Ireland and Scotland. The corn, you harvest it around, the last harvest is around Halloween. And we're not even at the first crop yet. If you were making whiskey with corn and you're running out of last season's corn and it's 1825, what are you going to use for starch? What grows in the wintertime, and that's wheat here in Kentucky. That's right. So I think that's how it made it in there. So this Larceny is about a 6-year flavor profile, and it's at 92 proof. That's why it's a little stronger and a little bit older than some of our main competitors. Everybody have the Larceny out yet? Everybody have Larceny? I'm kind of done telling Heaven Hill history and stuff. If you want to come and join and do questions and answers or whatever.
So what we're going to do is, as you're tasting and the Larceny's being poured, from the live audience, any questions of Bernie on anything? And if not, I've got a couple of Facebook Live questions here. Okay, let me go to Facebook real quick. So the first question is from Ryan Hallberg. Ryan asks, do you see traditional size barrels for aging? Do you use traditional size barrels for aging, and which char level do you prefer? What makes it unique or original?
Absolutely. So part of that house style, as I say, I think you should ask of every distillery when you go visit, because we're all very proud of our house style. So at Heaven Hill, it is we use number 3 char. We distill in a Vendome column still. We distill to 140 proof. We put it in the barrel at 100, just under 125 proof in a number 3 char barrel. And we do use 53-gallon barrels, the traditional barrel size, because that's what fits in the rick houses, right? We got lots of rick houses, and if you change the size, you're kind of screwed. Okay? We are building a new rick house every 6 months, so we don't even, Busick, who builds the rick houses, doesn't even leave our properties. They stay on there and they just continue to build it, because you people are so damn thirsty, we need more and more. Right now we have 1.9 million barrels in inventory, and that's not enough.
1.9. So, hey, has everybody had their sip of Larceny? Everybody? So what do you get? Yell out, what are the tasty notes? What do you get on the nose? What do you get on the tongue? What do you get on the finish? What do you think of Larceny? Butterscotch? More butterscotch over here? What do you all get back there? Caramel?
Cinnamon.
What'd you say, Tom? Cut grass. I guess the grass in Springfield tastes pretty damn good.
I asked this earlier. He means that in the best way.
What else? What else you get from the Larceny? Larceny is one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos. I love it. Have you all had the Larceny Barrel Proof that last year won Whiskey Advocates Whiskey of the Year? Not second place, the Whiskey of the Year globally. Scotch, all of them. How'd I do, Bernie?
Doing real good. Yeah, when you go to those contests, every distillery doesn't enter every whiskey they make in every contest. So it's just what's entered in that. So think of a whiskey medal like a dog show, okay? Everybody seen Best of Show and all that, you know? So you do, first of all, you do best of your breed, right? So whether it's terriers or hunting dogs or whatever, so you do best bourbons, right? And so you do that. Some maybe it's just best single barrels, maybe it's best barrel proofs, that kind of thing. Then you go into best of class. So you win of your class, and then of all those, you go to best of show. So Larceny Barrel Proof won each one, okay? So you can win best bourbon of the world, and that's pretty damn cool. But then to go on and win best of show is pretty cool. I forget, that was A 520 or B20?
B520.
I think it's B520. And so that's how that works. And so not only have we done that, we've done it 4 other times in the last 8 years, so it's kind of cool. You had a question, I think.
What's the difference finishing-wise, or is it just pick barrel-wise between Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and Larceny Barrel Proof?
So the question was, do we do pick barrels differently for Elijah Craig Barrel Proof or Larceny Barrel Proof? And the answer is yes. For almost all of our products, they live in different spots. So the best way to put it is how our master distiller, Conor O'Driscoll, he describes it. He and his team at our Bernheim facility do not make brands. They make distillates. So we have a bourbon rye distillate, and that's 78% corn, 12% malted barley, 10% rye. That's the same as Elijah Craig, Evan Williams, Henry McKenna, Fighting Cock, J.W. Dant, JTS Brown. Then they live in different spaces, different floors of the rick house, and different lengths of time. So most of all of our small batch and single barrels come from the 3rd, 4th floor and higher. Yeah. Yes. Where did we steal the recipe for Larceny? We already had it. We had it. That's called Old Fitzgerald Distillate, OFD. So we stole it from Old Fitzgerald. Yes, and we said that because Pappy Van Winkle's story, which is kind of a marketing advertising story, not a true story, but we ran with the well-known Pappy Van Winkle story that John E. Fitzgerald, whose name is on the label, was a treasury agent, and that's why the bottle is shaped like a lock. and that's a keyhole in it and keys on it, because he would have the key to go into the warehouses. He would take his mule, so not a living mule. Anybody know what a mule is? In the distillery? What's that? It is a rubber tube, but very close, very close. And then you would take it and put it in. So you take the rubber tube, because it fits in your overalls or your pocket, right? And that rubber tube would go down into the barrel, and then you put your thumb on top of it, like the straw at McDonald's, right? And you bring out and beef out a taste. And he would go to the barrels. It's not much to do if you're a government agent walking around a warehouse. What's going to happen, right? So you kind of just, he would find some of his favorite tasting barrels. He would thief out of it, and then when they were shipping those barrels out, and it was lighter, they say, ooh, he's been drinking out of this one. That's a Fitzgerald barrel. That's a good barrel, right? And so that's how the name Old Fitzgerald came to be. So we say we steal those best barrels and call it larceny. So there you go, Chris. There's the story of bringing it all around to you, buddy.
We practiced that last night for about 2 hours.
Timing was perfect.
Okay.
I'll give you $10, right?
All right, so we are now pouring the second expression, which is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Ooh, we're jumping in the deep end real quick.
Someone said if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, Bernie.
That's right.
We're going big.
I didn't get any larceny, but I'll sure damn well take it up on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof here. I love larceny too. So this was, this happened to be Whiskey of the Year 2017 at Whiskey Advocate. And that was Barrel Proof Elijah Craig. So Barrel Proof Elijah Craig is 12 years old. And I don't know the proof on this one, but Chris, if you have it over there, maybe you can tell us what the proof is. So it's our traditional bourbon recipe, aged for 12 years. That's going to be on a lower floor, probably floors 2 and 3, to answer your question there of that. 118, there you go. So that tells me that comes from, what batch?
What batch?
B521. So how you read those, B is the second dump of the year, and then 5 is May, and 21's the year. So that's how that works. And so 118.2 proof. So that went down in proof. When you go down in proof from 125, what does that tell you of where it sits in the rick house? It's on a lower level. On about the first, second, sometimes third floor, right in that area, it goes down in proof. Because just like if I sent 3 barrels of whiskey to your house, made the same way, the same day, filled in the same charred barrel, if I sent 3 of those barrels to your house and you put 1 up in your attic, 1 on your first floor, and 1 in your basement, and then I said, don't turn your air conditioner or your heater on for 10 years, can you imagine that after we came back after 10 years, those 3 lit barrels would taste different? And that's exactly what's happening in our rick houses. The attic is like the top 2 floors, the main floors like the middle 2 floors, and the basement's like the first 2 floors. You're gonna lose proof because water will enter the barrel, lowering the proof in the bottom, and at top, the little water molecule is 6 times smaller than the alcohol molecule, and it evaporates faster, and the proof goes up at the top. The highest I've ever seen any whiskey in my life has been a 30-year-old bourbon, and it's 170.1 proof. I have some of it at my house, and it tastes like shit. You don't want it.
Hey, Bernie, the speaker broke
It's our
up.
regular distillate. It's not a brand.
Hey, Bernie,
It's ours.
you broke up there. I heard you say it tasted like, and then what happened?
Shit. It tastes like shit. It's too much everything. There's always one person that goes, damn, that's pretty good. I'm like, no, it's not. You think it's good because it's 30 years old, that's all you think. The lowest I've seen personally is a 16-year-old Old Fitzgerald from the first floor, and it was 99 proof. So that shows you the dramatic range. Usually a 12-year-old bourbon from the top floor is going to be anywhere from 135 to 150. So with this Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, it's 118.2 proof. Put enough in your mouth and give it a little chew.
Hey Bernie, we got a lot of people from out of town. In all seriousness, explain the Kentucky Chew and the Kentucky Hug.
Sure. I gotta enjoy this for a second. You feel that warmth in the center of your chest? That's Kentucky wrapping its arms around your heart. And that's the hug right there. Then you got the chew. Fred Noe, when I worked at Jim Beam, I was over there for 7 years. Fred Noe, his dad Booker, he would go to the whiskey shows in New York and San Francisco and that, and he would put it in his mouth and he'd chew it like this. And he was over dramatic because he was doing it for the whole room, so he's kind of smacking his lips. And of course, Booker comes from Bardstown. It was a real distinctive voice, accent voice, and they ate that up in New York. And the journalist said, "Booker, what's that you're doing?" He goes, "I'm chewing it." And then it gets it through your mouth, because he was doing Booker's, and it's barrel strength, right, like this. So you don't want to swish it, you blow your head off, right? And so the journalist called it the Kentucky Chew. So Booker never called it that, but the journalist wrote about it, and then everybody taught it. So then Booker taught Fred the chew, Fred taught me the chew, and I'm teaching you the chew. So here's the Booker No for the Kentucky Chew. Right? We miss you, Booker. We love you. So this has that rye in it. You're going to get that spice in the back of your palate. At 118.2 proof. Man, I taste a lot more in this than I do most barrel proofs. Right? Raise your hand if you did not get a Elijah Craig barrel proof. Raise your hand if you did not get one. Oh, you got one? You got one? Paul needs one. J. Paul.
I was up there talking to Billy.
Larry, did you get one? Okay.
So the regular Elijah Craig small batch used to be all 12 years old. It's now 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 years old. When I started with the company in 2012, Elijah Craig only sold 30,000 cases. So a lot of people say, "You took the age statement off. You guys are bastards. I can't believe you took the age statement off Elijah Craig." And I'm like, well, we now sell over 300,000 cases. 300,000 cases of it. Do you think we made 12-year-old whiskey for 300,000 cases 13 years ago? No. We did not, unfortunately. So what you got to do, we are not making vodka. We can't just make more tomorrow and make up for sales. Whatever bourbon we're making this year in 2021, we will never be able to go back and make more, right? So it's all about barrel management, inventory management, and then shit happens that you're not in control of, right? So last year, when we all went on lockdown, from March to today, Elijah Craig and Evan Williams have sold 50% more. We did not make 50% more of that traditional bourbon recipe 5 years to 12 years ago. We will be having inventory issues on certain things. You can control that by sizes, or just having certain sizes out, or not doing, but it is an interesting problem. There's a reason people don't get into this business, things like that. But that's what Matt Shapiro loves. He knows that. He uses it to his advantage, but sometimes it bites you in the ass, right?
Okay. everybody have their taste of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof? Aaron, what'd you think? Have you all met my son, Aaron? Everybody give him a hand. All right, check his ID, he's not 21. No, he is. Actually, Aaron serves in the United States Air Force, so give him a hand for that. Okay, what'd you all think of the Elijah Craig? Foolproof. Isn't that good? What'd you all scream out? What did you get out of it? What did you all taste? Everybody gets a different flavor, but what did you all get? Vanilla?
Big vanilla.
Yeah. Tennessee grass, he said. Cut grass. Toffee.
Toffee. It's a good one.
What'd you get, Ed? Caramel vanilla? It's delicious, isn't it? So, I tell you what, I've got to introduce our sponsors here, but before we do it, Bernie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you tell us a little bit about Elijah Craig, who he was, and his role in what we think was maybe creating bourbon?
Sure. Well, on the front of it, it says father of bourbon. So sometimes there's a little marketing, smoke and mirrors, as Fred No used to call it, right? Parker Beam says sometimes they're blatant lies. That's okay, you know? So Elijah Craig is a brand that we purchased from another distillery several decades ago, 1986. So Max bought the brand. It was available. There wasn't the Google machine back then, so we had to actually hire historians. And one of the stories we found out was that he made his first whiskey in 1789, and that was the birth of the United States. Wait a minute, that's not 1776, right? Well, when did George Washington first take office? 1789, but thanks for playing. It was good.
Give or take a dog ear.
What happened between 1776 and 1789? We had to fight the damn war, okay? We had to fight the war, we had to win the war, right? And we won the war, right? Spoiler alert, we won the war. So, 1789, so that's part of the birth of a nation, and that's a little stretch right there. But also, Elijah Craig, the story goes, I don't know what he was smoking in his barn, but he had a fire in his barn. Right? And it burned anything that was in the barn, and he had some barrels he was going to ship down the Kentucky River because he was in Georgetown. And it didn't destroy the barrels, but it did affect them and burn the barrels. They were still usable, and that's one of the stories of how the charred barrel came to be. Do you think that's the only story of how the charred barrel came to be? No, they were not texting each other, right? Evan Williams, it came to Evan Williams a different way. Evan Williams was in downtown Louisville, and he was in they had it by sections of town called squares. Anybody ever been to Philadelphia? And they have Rittenhouse Square. That's where David Rittenhouse drew the city up and mapped the city out, and that's how he named it after himself. That's pretty cool. And that's our brand, Rittenhouse Rye. He was on Square 6, is where his distillery was for Evan Williams. And he would get his barrels from Thomas Broadhead, who had the dry goods store in town. He got stuff delivered him by Kentucky Longboat from Pittsburgh down the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio River, and he got his barrels to Broadhead's general store. And if Evan Williams needed a barrel to ship down to, where's he going to ship to from here? Anywhere left of here, right? Anywhere west of here. The first big main post, everybody forgets to talk about St. Louis. Okay? That's the first big trading post. Then it takes a left-hand turn, and there's not much till you get down to New Orleans back then. So those are the two major markets. He's going to put them into a barrel, and those barrels would have had whatever was shipped in them. It would have been packed, because there's no refrigeration, with salts and brine and pickle juice and things like that. Vinegars. You don't want to put your good whiskey into a barrel that has a bunch of vinegar and salts in it. So they burned the inside of the barrel out, and that sterilized it, and then they put their whiskey in it. same thing happened. That's story number 2. Story number 3. Today we use high temperature steam to bend those thick barrel staves into the shape of a barrel with those hoops. They didn't have steam until the steam engine was invented, so they hung the staves above a fire, and some of those staves caught fire. There's story number 3. And then Mike Beach likes to tell the story of that whiskey, when it got down to New Orleans, couldn't compete with French cognac, which was aged in charred and toasted barrels, so they just did that to match it trying to taste like cognac. So there's 4 stories. I believe all 4. Again, they were not texting each other, but we do know by 1825 there's a letter in Mike Beach's book from New Orleans saying to a distillery, please keep using those charred barrels. It makes a much superior whiskey. And then word got around, that's what people wanted. Right? So there's your whole story.
All right, Bernie, thank you. Let me, hold on a second. I want to introduce our sponsors.
Absolutely.
So let's take a break from Bernie and Heaven Hill for 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and pour our Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond. And while we're doing that, I'd like to introduce our sponsors of the Big Bourbon Club. Number 1, the official accounting firm sponsor is Blue & Company. I don't think they're here today. We also have sponsors the Whiskey Grail, Justin's House of Bourbon, Mint Julep Tours, Bourbon City Cruisers, and Wesley's Wicks. Who knows Wesley's Wicks? If you're on TikTok, social media, you know Wesley's Wicks. So I'm going to give away a Wesley candle. So this is a candle. I'm sorry to everybody, it's a Weller candle, but this is what he sent me. This kid, he's going to go to medical school, and he sounded like he's already a doctor. That's his autograph. He could have been 1 year old and signed that. But this is Wesley. He's a great guy. He's a partner of the Big Bourbon Club, and this is one of his whiskey-scented candles. So we're going to do a quick drawing. So let's pull out a number. Hey, Chris, pull out a number there and read it out, and we're going to give it. Whoever has the number gets the candle. Yeah. All right. Wesley, you're famous, son. All right. 246146. Another Callahan winner, 2 weeks in a row. Congratulations. All right, so I think I shared earlier, hold your ticket. We're going to give away an Elijah Craig golf bag here in a minute. So hang tight. The other partners that I want to introduce are Chris Luskin, the Whiskey Army, a great friend and a great partner. Bourbon Women, Tag Your Swag, they're the ones that control our merch store and are selling this stuff and discounting it today. Silent Wolf Productions, Kyle, the Hondas and Kojin putting this on in the Fraser Museum. And I've got a special guest. We've got some special guests here. I want everybody to pay attention, listen up. We got some guests that drove in for this. Matt, Shadley, come on up. So Matt and Shadley represent and work for as employees the Habitat for Humanity in Henderson County, Kentucky, about 2 hours up the river. They're not only great friends and great people. Dick Bevan's on their board. Did you know that? Great friends, great people. They have absolutely the biggest, most incredible bourbon raffle you've ever heard of in your entire life, and they're going to tell you about it right now. And it's kind of like church. We're going to send a basket around here in a minute, okay?
Well, no, the raffle's online only, but yeah, we'll send a basket around, whatever. I have to say that the bourbon group, since I've been introduced to bourbon, I just met Steve this week, and he told me my character flaw is I don't drink bourbon. Just like this gentleman that was up here talking,
when I'm sitting around with all the people on my committee that helped form this raffle, they all take a drink and they're like, I can taste the vanilla, I can taste this. I said, all I can taste is shit. I will say this, there is nothing better than the bourbon community. I mean, since 2018, since we've been doing this, I've met some of the greatest people. I can't even explain. Y'all know, because y'all are the people. But funny thing is, 3 years ago, when somebody came to me and said, have y'all ever considered raffling off rare bourbon? I said, no. They said, it's a great thing if you know, if you can get it. I said, okay, well tell me what to get. And they sat back and they said, well, you just need to go get some Pappy Van Winkle. So I said, okay, I'll go get it right now. Where do I go? And they started laughing. So they said, good luck. Well, we can only buy it from licensed retailers, distributors. We can't buy it from individuals, but we can get it donated from individuals. So I went to some individuals' homes and said that I knew had it, and I was like, can you, would you be willing to donate your Pappy? And I saw grown men start to sweat. I saw them start to cry. And they came up with this beautiful story of how they acquired their bottles. And I said, do you have a story that beautiful about your wife? They said, no, I don't. And I said, holy shit. I could not believe the power of this stuff. But I'm going to have Shadley show you. This is our 6th one. It might be our final one. We don't know yet. This stuff's getting harder to find. But we got 50 prizes, 38 cash prizes, but we have 12 bourbon prizes. Shadley, you can start with 12. 12th place is from Basil Hayden. He wants to get in front of the camera. Get in front of the camera. 12th place is from Basil. You can already tell I've been drinking. Hell, I can't even get the words out. But 12th place is, yeah. You win all that, and we also are offering free delivery if you live 150 miles or more from 42420, or if you live 150 miles or more from 42420, we will give you an additional $500 travel voucher, and for you to come claim your prize. So we're trying to make this as seamless as possible. 11th place.
Hey, I thought Habitat was a not-for-profit.
Well,
That's why we can do it.
that's right. We're doing this. We know that the bourbon community has supported us so far. 11th place is Four Roses. Don't worry, it gets better. Hold on. 10th place, Knob Creek. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Don't worry, you'll all be clapping soon. What place are we on? 9th place. Okay, 9th place. Yep. There we go, 9th place. 8th place is a little miscellaneous collection from Buffalo Trace. Take a look there, yeah. All right. 7th place is from Willett. Kind of got cut off. The picture doesn't do it justice. But I think all y'all know what's there. So, all right, here's where everybody's gonna start clapping. 6th place and down are really good. 6th place, Weller collection.
Matt, I think you have their attention.
I thought I would. 5th place, Blanton's collection. And that includes Blanton Silver. We were told the last time that was sold was 2003 or distilled, so that's a pretty good one. 4th place, E.H. Taylor. We got Amaranth Grain of the Gods and 4 grain, single barrel, barrel proof, straight, and small batch. All there, that's 4th place. 3rd place is from Elmer T. Lee. 5 bottles from the Elmer T. Lee collection. And by the way, Shadley took all these pictures. She actually army crawled on the ground to get these shots. So,
It's kind of like if you go to our site.
yeah. 2nd place is the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. And of course, I'm sure everybody knows what 1st place is, but we're going to show you anyway.
Happy.
Yeah, 1st place is Pappy Van Winkle. 10, 12, 13, 15, 20, and 23. With the tags and bags.
I
Now,
need to deliver it to you.
we will deliver it to you. Again, remember the rules. When you click on our website, you will see we make this as simple as possible. We will. Shadley's traveling all over the United States delivering this stuff when we get done drawing. Again, 13th through 20th place is $500. 21st through 30th place is $400. 31st through 40th is $300. You know what? I don't know why I'm telling y'all this because none of y'all give a shit about the money. But anyways, I still wanted to tell you about it. Shanley's going to pass out some cards that you can take your smartphone, you take your camera. I don't know anything about IT. You scan this, whatever the hell this is here, and it pops up our website. Easy as possible. As a matter of fact, the people sitting at our table have already bought a ticket since we told them about it. So please check it out. And we thank you, Steve, for having us and letting us do this. This is fantastic. And thank you all. I mean, hey, this money's going to build affordable houses in the community. Thank you. And I hope to be delivering to at least 12 of y'all in this room. I can't guarantee anything, but I hope so.
Well, Matt, when's the drawing?
The drawing is August 27th. It's 6 p.m. Central Standard Time at Rock House on the River in Henderson. That's 212 North Water Street. However, you do not have to be present to win. Shanley will be streaming it live on Facebook. All this will be explained on our website. I hope everything is spelled out very well on our website. But you can tune into Facebook. You'll get a call from Shanley. If you see your phone ringing after 8:30 p.m. on that night, you know that you've won something. It's her number, of course.
So Matt, real quick. So how much? So you can sell up to 10,000 tickets.
We can sell up to 10,000 tickets. Whatever. The raffle will stop selling tickets at 10,000 tickets or at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on August 27th.
How much money does the Habitat hope to raise?
We're trying to raise approximately $800,000. That's going to build about 6 houses. As you all know, the cost of lumber has gone up. We're also trying to pay off our building that we're in so that we can reallocate those funds to hopefully hire a foreman to come help us build into the future. Anybody out here a construction foreman looking for a job? No? Okay, well, I had to try.
Hey Matt, stay in your lane now. We're talking about a raffle.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just joking.
I'm sorry.
So Matt called me. He saw us on TikTok and didn't know me from Adam. Called out of the blue, and I took the call. And he's a great guy. And one of his board members is a gentleman by the name of Dick Bevan. And I just happen to know Dick. Dick was on the first ever Yellowstone barrel pick with me several years ago. Dick is Tom McGuire's business partner and owner of Air Hydro. And when he said Dick's name, I said, I'm in, whatever you want. And so he said he loved it. They drove in this morning just to introduce the raffle to us, trying to raise money to help out folks in Henderson, Kentucky. So pull out your wallets, $100 a raffle, you're going to win a lot of great programs. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Shannon, you look great in that t-shirt. You just keep that and take it back to Henderson.
And just to let you know, if they have to be bought online. We won't physically sell them here. So it's all online. So just if you need one of those papers or cards, I'll
Anybody want a card?
Did you give the, okay, perfect, thank you. So one other announcement I meant to give earlier, those of you who follow the Big Bourbon Club, we have partnered with Twisted Pink, which is a 501c3 group that has just had their annual fundraiser to raise money for breast cancer. Caroline Johnson is a neighbor of ours, and her kids went to school with Cress and mine. And anyway, so Cress donated a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle to Twisted Pink, and we also gave $25 back to them for every Top Shelf member sold for 4 months. For $125, we gave $25 back. Take a guess how much they raised for that one bottle of Pappy 12 last week. How much? How much? $5,600. And then we gave them $425 check last week. So Big Bourbon Club donated $6,025 to Twisted Pink this week. That's real money, and it's a great cause. So thanks, Chris, and thanks to everybody at Twisted Pink. Okay. Hey Bernie, you ready? Well, let's go. Can we do pour number 3, the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond White Label? Great. I was testing you all. So does everybody have their Evan Williams White Label Bottle and Bond? Everybody's got it. All right, let's take a sip of it. Well. Lee, we've got a table here. Anybody else? Just the one table? All right, let's take a sip.
All right. Bottled and Bond, my favorite thing to talk about is Bottled and Bond. Bottled and Bond is a law that dates back to It was passed on March 3rd, 1897. It's the first consumer protection legislation in the history of the United States. Pretty cool. And back then, it was important because a lot of people could and would add safe and unsafe ingredients to whiskey. So you could add battery acid, you could add fruit juices, you could add coffee and tea for color, you could put spittoon juice in the fermenters and in the product. So Bottle and Bond assured you a sense of purity. So Bottle and Bond, you can only add pure water. You're guaranteed a good age because it must be aged in the appropriate barrels for 4 years. Then you must bottle it to exactly 100 proof. So you're guaranteed a good strength, a good age, and purity. Right there, that's pretty damn cool. It also has a lot of other laws. It has to come in the same distilling season, the same distillery. You must put the real trade name on the package, and the DSP. DSP stands for Distilled Spirit Plant. So, and then you put the state, and then the number given to you. So in Bardstown, we were a pretty young company when Prohibition was over, and everybody hears the term pre-fire. So if it was made at the distillery before 1996, that would have come from DSP KY31. That's our bottling plant today, so you'll see that on our Bottle and Bond. But because we're made in Louisville at the Bernheim facility, Mr. Bernheim got DSP KY1. So we're the best. Just our number, but it's pretty cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So this is 4-year-old 100 proof Bottle and Bond Evan Williams, our traditional bourbon mash bill. It shares a mash bill and the same whiskey as J.W. Dant, J.T.S. Brown, and T.W. Samuels. They all taste different. They are the same distillate and the same whiskey, but our sensory team brings them from, your question, different places in the rick house in barrels that have more. I have found that barrels that have more caramel is more JTS Brown. More spicy, almost like a high rye bourbon, would be JW Dant. And then this Evan Williams is kind of like right in the middle. Okay? The reason that bartenders like to make cocktails, not your bourbon and cokes or bourbon and ginger, which are phenomenal. I love bourbon and ginger ale with the dash of bitters especially. It's a great thing. I call it a cocktail. I guess it's more of a what do you call it? Anyway, highball than anything. But if you go down to Expo downtown, and they're making cocktails down there, or Meta, right across from 8 Up and all that. The reason they like 100 proof and 101 and that is it stands up in the cocktail when you add ingredients like sweet vermouth and ice and water and different ingredients. So that's what this is for. Or if you just want a little more oomph, right? This is 1 year less than the Black Label 5-year-old 86. This is 4-year-old 100 proof.
Is this y'all's youngest?
Excuse me?
Is this y'all's youngest product? Is this y'all's youngest product?
This is not our youngest product. It's our youngest Evan Williams product. We do make a Heaven Hill 3-year-old product that people use like for bourbon and cokes and things like
Green
that.
label, is that the green label?
No, the Green Label 6-year-old 90. Well, the Green Label Evan Williams is 3-year-old 80. The Heaven Hill, that's a 6-year-old 90. $13 a bottle. Yes, sir. I can't hear his question, so instead of shutting the hell up, he's got to walk up here? Okay.
Is this the same thing that they put out a couple of years ago, the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, that
Yes.
sold out and just...
The Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond was 6 years old, so it's not the same. This is 4 years old. Yeah. We do have the Heaven Hill 6-year 90, which is still in stores today. No, that's the 6 years only in Kentucky. Green Label 6-year 90. The Heaven Hill 6-year bottle and bond went away. It was only sold in Kentucky. Everybody that came in and visited bought cases of it when they went back home. We noticed people loved it. I loved it. I didn't want it to go away, right?
Why did it?
When you sell a 6-year-old bottle and bond for $13, it's because we have made it since the 40s. Bourbon was depressed and the prices were super low on brands like Heaven Hill that were value brands. When you have other companies charging $50 to $150 for a product that you're selling for $13, I only got a 2.6 cumulative in UK, but that shit don't work, right? We are in the bourbon business, not the bourbon charity, right? So sometimes we make decisions that no one likes, but you have to stay around. One of the most revered distilleries was Stitzel Weller, and they went out of business. We do not want to be a company that goes out of business. So that same brand is out as a 7-year in 6 different markets at $40, which is still way under its closest competitor, which would be Old Forester 1897, which is $50 a bottle, and E.H. Taylor Small Batch, no age statement. Either of those have age statements, and $45 a bottle, and we are at $40 a bottle with a 7-year age statement, and that's all I have to say about that.
All right, we got a question in the audience.
Yes, but not next year. Will that 7-year be in Kentucky? You know, I put my 2 cents worth in, and sometimes it doesn't go 3 cents far. They were afraid that everybody's pissed off at us, as they were. And most of the people that were pissed off at us didn't drink it, right? They just wanted it there forever, right? I drank it and I loved it, right? And I get it. I was pissed off too, right? So it's okay to be pissed, right? It means you have passion, right? But they were kind of, I don't agree with it, not bringing it here. They said, well, they're going to be really mad that it's $40. And I said, well, they're really mad they can't get it now, right? So, again, and Max lost that battle too. Sometimes you can own the damn place and lose the battle, right? And that's okay. That shows a good owner, I think. Here's a good example of a good owner too, Max Shapiro. We put an RFID code on every barrel now so that we don't lose barrels. And it's got a little metal strip in it that has all the information that's on the barrel, because we used to just write it down in a book, right? And sometimes we'd lose barrels because there's 2 million of them, right? You're gonna lose them. Well, Max said, no, that's a waste of money to put that RFID on there. I think we're doing fine. And then I was with a group, and he said, you know, I didn't think that was the right move. And he goes, turns out I was wrong. So that's what we should do. And I think that's a sign of a strong person to say, I was wrong, they were right, and he also trusted them and let them do what they thought was right. I think that's a sign of a good ownership. Its location in the rick house and flavor profile of yeah, so it's 3-year age difference, and they're both sitting in the same places, but there's a 3-year age difference. So Tawny tastes the barrels, Tawny, Mike, and Chris, and they taste the barrels and they see which direction it's headed, and so they can taste 1 barrel out of 100 and think, well, this is going more towards McKenna, or this is going more towards Elijah Craig. It's kind of how it's done.
They mark the barrels.
What?
They mark them then that it's heading towards that
They
way.
identify them with that RFID. It's not an exact science. There's still differences, but they kind of know. It's 10-year age stated. Henry McKenna's 10 years old. 7. Same mash bill, same everything. Yep. The 7-year-old Heaven Hill is not available here, but hopefully will be in 2 years. So we have, I think, another. Are we getting?
Hey, Barney.
Oh, Paxville.
Where is it?
It's in Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Oregon, or Washington. One of them. A lot of control states. Go ahead. Oh. Any other questions?
Bernie, we have a question from Facebook Live.
Okay. We have a question from Facebook Live.
Where did Heaven Hill come from? The words, the name, Heaven Hill.
So the question is, does anybody else want to know the answer to the question?
Yeah.
I do love this though because we've had 5 whiskeys, so it gets loud when there's 5 whiskeys. I kind of love it. It's kind of funny. So for those of y'all listening and want to know,
Bernie, excuse me one second. Hey everybody, hey. We can't hear anything. Bernie's speaking, give him a second, okay? Thank you.
I came all the way from the Highlands, for God's sake.
Thank you very much.
So where did Heaven Hill come from? Heaven Hill was the land that we bought in 1935. So Max's dad, Ed, he had Ed, Gary, George, Mose, and David. And that's all. Their father came from Lithuania to escape what was happening in Russia against Jewish families in Russia. So he came through New Orleans, knew a guy who knew a guy in New Haven, Kentucky. Most Jewish citizens, just like German Catholics at the time, were second-class citizens here. So they did jobs that nobody else wanted to do. Germans made beer. Thank God they made beer, right? Max's dad became a peddler. And then he did pretty well. He started department stores. Everybody out in the state of ever saw the name People's Store or the Louisville Store? That's our family's department stores. For junior department stores on a town square in a little town. Because their business was not affected by prohibition, they had some money to invest and saw that they might put money on 33 Black and bet $17,000 on 33 Black, which was, we think this distillery might do something, right? Because there's these couple guys named Harry and Joe Beam, and we've heard that name Beam. They know it. They know what they're doing. So they bought 200 acres of land where we sit today, where the Heaven Hill Bourbon Experience is, newly remodeled. If you haven't been there recently, it just opened June 18th. Isn't it great? It's amazing. That is a $20 million family investment to that. That always makes me crazy. They put $20 million, they could have kept that $20 million in their pocket. But Max wants to be family owned and operate 100 years from now, not just today. So that William Heaven Hill, that's all one word. We're Heaven Hill, 2 words. When they got the distillery license in 1935 back from Frankfurt, somebody made a mistake and put a space on the big Royal typewriter between Heaven and Hill. And when they got it, they called up and they said, well, this is wrong. We got $17,000 in this shit. We want to change. They said, no problem, but there will be a $25 refiling fee. They didn't have to make their mind up for 4 years, so they said, well, we'll change that 4 years from now. We don't have any whiskey out for 4 years. And over time, they fell in love with the name, because William Heaven Hill was a farmer. He wasn't Jim Beam, right? So they said, this sounds better. It sounds like a place. It sounds not a guy's name. It sounds like a heavenly place. who would not want bourbon from Heaven Hill? So that's how we got our name. It's kind of cool. It's a mistake.
All right, thank you. So we're pouring now the final expression, Pikesville Rye Whiskey. So Bernie, go get a pour. And as Carter and Lee are pouring, hey, by the way, everybody, tip your waitresses handsomely tonight. Carter and Lee are doing a great job. Bernie, tell us about, as they're pouring, tell us about Pikesville Rye.
So Pikesville Rye was our first rye whiskey that we acquired at Heaven Hill. I believe it was 1983, we believe. Interesting way to build a business. When you do not have capacity to add a rye whiskey to your portfolio because you're making bourbon, one way to do that is to buy a brand and then you get all the barrels that company has made ever. You get the whole inventory. Then you don't have to make more of it until years later, right? So that's how we acquired our Heaven Hill. Was not the main business of our family. They had department stores. This was their driving Lyft, right? This was their Uber side hustle, right? So what they did is they were in a good cash position even when the industry was going down in the 60s and 70s when tequila and vodka were king. So we bought really strong brands that were regional. Some of them were regional, some of them were national. Elijah Craig, right? We bought Pikesville Rye. Actually, the owners of Pikesville called Max Shapira up and said, I'd like to sell our brand to you because you won't kill it. You will keep it going. That's kind of cool, right? So that's how we got JTS Brown and JW Dant and TW Samuels and Rittenhouse Rye and Pikesville Rye. Pikesville was a Maryland distillery, and Maryland and Pennsylvania were known for rye whiskeys. Pikesville is not from Pikeville, Kentucky. It's Pikesville, Maryland, and the distillery is in Scotts Level, Maryland. The owners originally thought people might think that's Scotch whiskey. So they named it after the next town over, right? Which was Pikesville. Right? So Max, a few years ago, he said, I want to do something special with the Pikesville brand because it was only available in Maryland and Washington, D.C. And he said, I want to take it nationally. So we made it a 6-year-old 110 proof. And the first year that it was out, Jim Murray in his whiskey Bible named Pikesville the number 2 whiskey of the world. Really a wow. Yeah. 6-year-old 110 proof. And our recipe is 51% rye, 35% corn, and 14% malted barley. And it comes from 4th floor and higher. Cheers. Yeah, it's big in there. That's barrel. Number 3, yeah, everything. But because there's 51% rye, it acts different. So there's an explosion of spice in your mouth, not just in the back, but in your gums and in your lips, yes. No, we will not do that. I mean, we do know that's Angels Envy's gig, and they do that great, and we don't want to step on that. That's kind of their gig. So we do very few finishes. Again, that's kind of Angel's Envy, the Lincoln Henderson's gig. And we're known more for straight whiskeys instead of finishes. We love finishes. We have our Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, which is not a finish. It is a finish, but it's not like that. But we do recognize other people are known for things, and we choose not to do that because they do it so well. The Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel is very awesome. Yes.
On the toasted barrel, how many days? 2 months. 2 months.
That's a lot of money for another brand new barrel, but yeah. But it's good.
Okay, hey, let me interrupt y'all real quick. Everybody quiet. More quiet. Thank you. Okay, so real quick, turn around and look at Hillary. Hillary, wave. So here's what we're going to do. Listen, everybody hold your glass up and toast and hold it up for 30 seconds. Hillary's going to try to get a nice panoramic view so we can post this. Okay, we're going to do the first one on 3. On 3, look at Hillary. Hold it up. 1, 2, everybody say Big Bourbon.
Sounds good. So we had a good tasting. I want to thank our local sales team today because today we were supposed to taste Larceny, Elijah Craig Small Batch, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, and Rittenhouse Rye. All phenomenal products, by the way. But Rob brought by the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof instead of the small batch, and Pikesville instead of that. So that's pretty good. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to up the game. I call that the under-promise, over-deliver, right? So that's what we like to do. And we can do that because we're family-owned. Again, it's kind of a big deal to be family-owned and as big as we are. We do sell 17 million cases of spirits out of Bardstown every year. We own more than just bourbon. We did purchase Deep Eddy Vodka out of Austin, Texas a couple years ago. And we just purchased within the last 2 years, Black Velvet Canadian whiskey, a great, cool Canadian whiskey. I'm done with my presentation and with the bourbons, and we do have hats. There are hats up here. They are good trucker caps and that. They're kind of cool. You see in some folks around. They're cool. If you're not a hat person, you got to have whiskey. It's okay. If you have any questions for Chris, like anything, or for Steve, or for me, I'm here for the next couple minutes, and then I'll turn it back over to Steve.
So before we go formally into the end of the program, what else do you have for Bernie about Heaven Hill or anything else?
What's new coming out?
What's new coming out?
So right now, because COVID was so good for our company, and we feel bad for our restaurant and bar customers because they suffered so much. We did do very good, but it hammered some of the ages from some of the stuff, and that's very challenging for what's going on. That's going to stop some innovation that we had in plans, but we do have some smaller number of barrels. So you do know that we have Parker's Heritage that's released in the fall. We're going to have something called Heaven Hill Heritage coming out in the spring. But don't get excited. You won't get any, right?
But we know Steve.
Just being honest, right? I mean, unless you're sleeping out, unless you're, money under the table, something. I mean, nobody wants more of those kind of products. At Heaven Hill, we want to have something that everybody can have all the time. We do happen to have more barrels aging of 6 years old and higher than anyone on the planet. But because we've had the Old Fitzgerald Decanter Series and Heaven Hill 27 and Parker's, even we are running dry on those kind of things. It's a different world than it used to be. You used to have to work to sell those, and now they come out and they're instantly gone. And that's a hard thing for everyone to manage. I don't think anybody's doing it well either. Yeah, Todd?
Hey, program's not over. How do you feel about customers and enthusiasts sitting out front of the distillery in the mornings and waiting for the allocation?
We love it. I mean, who wouldn't want 50 to 75 people out in front of your business since 7 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning? 4 o'clock. Have you all been there? And sometimes they don't even know what's available. So you got people who have $500 in their pocket they can't wait to throw at you and don't know what they're going to get. It's really challenging because some people get up there and they're mad because we either had the same stuff we had the day before or something, and we have a lot of new people who don't know how to handle stuff, but I think we do okay. How did we do that day you were there? Yeah, I mean, it's a new thing, and it's an interesting thing. No one has ever pictured. I remember when Pappy Van Winkle, 23-year-old, and 20-year-old and 15-year-old used to be $79.99 and half a dozen bottles. I remember when we had a Heaven Hill 10-year-old bottle and bond for $16.99. That was 2006. Remember the old Charter, 8-year-old and 10-year-old? They were like $8, $9. We were very lucky back in the day. And now the world's a different world. But yeah, we love it.
Okay, Scott Simta has a question.
Bernie, so where do you see... Scott and I used to hang out when we were in high school. There was no Facebook back then, Scott. I could tell some stories. I do believe we played ping pong at Steve Graham's basement. Yeah, that's right. We did.
Well, that's a memory. So how do you, as the market goes right now, where do you see us catching up? The distilleries catching up with product, because it's such, like you said, we have to age it.
Sure. Yeah. We're all the time. You have to keep up and keep adding to your production capacity. Since I've been in Heaven Hill, 2012, our company has invested $1 billion in capacity. It's $1 billion of the family's money. They could have gone to the south of France and said, screw all this, right? But they invested in the company. Then our master distiller came in and he thickened the beer in the fermenters. He put more grain in the fermenters, and that gave us 200 more barrels a day with the same quality. So that's without adding any production. So we're going to have to add production, and we always are. There will be a time where there'll be more production than needed, but I don't see that happening for about another 20 years. But we're trying to keep up with it all the time. But the thing is, whatever you do today, you make today what you can make. And if you add production, that takes about a year or two. And then it takes 4, 8, 10, 12 years. That's why we need the craft distillers who are doing what they're doing to help fill in the holes too.
So what that's right. Next question, Steve Ward. Okay, so I've got a question from Facebook Live. Hold on one sec. Okay, so the question is from Mike Smith. Bernie, can you confirm or deny if Heaven Hill and Henry McKenna are the same juice, but different years.
So first of all, we don't sell juice, we sell whiskey. Juice is brandy. That's one of the things that goes through me is the juice thing. Yes, again, we do not make brands at Heaven Hill. We distillates. So we make HH Red, which is our bourbon rye distillate. So Henry McKenna and Heaven Hill share a grain bill with Fighting Cock, Evan Williams, the whole Evan Williams family, JTS Brown, JW Dan, TW Samuels. Where it sits in the Rick House, we have 64 of them, so it's not one, right? We have 1.9 million barrels. We have a very broad palette. We can paint with all of those, even if they're the same age, like JTS Brown and JW Dant and Evan Williams Bottle of Bond. We can make those taste different. We're lucky. If you're a smaller producer, it's hard to do. We're very large. Biggest little distillery in the world. We can do that. So yes, it's the same. Proudly the same. And those brands all taste different because of that.
Okay, Rhonda, question.
Is there any special story behind the little hand grenades?
Oh, no. It's
Thanks for
another
playing,
mistake.
though.
It's another great mistake. So we put it in a smaller size, which is 375, which is half 750, the old pint, I guess you call it. And we made it look like a barrel. And then the customers started calling it hand grenades. We didn't call it hand grenades. So that's one of the cool things that you all do. We probably owe you money for that.
You can pay us in bourbon.
Sure.
Pay us in bourbon.
You just got 4 whiskeys, right?
All right, we've got time for 2 more questions, if we have them. Russell.
Pick one Heaven Hill product. What is it?
Well, the first bourbon, when I came over to the company, when I worked at Jim Beam, I was on the Knob Creek team, and you can still lick my arm and taste Knob Creek. And I love Knob Creek. Knob Creek is 9 years old and 100 proof. So what brand do you think I liked tasting blind in Heaven Hill? We didn't have Larson. Well, it just came out. It was McKenna, yeah. 10-year-old 100 proof. And I tasted them blind, and I went, that's it. The number 2 was the 1783, the Evan Williams 1783. And we recently changed that package a little bit, and we added proof to it. Who's adding proof? It was 86, it's now 90. Do yourself a favor, spend $20 and buy a bottle of Evan Williams 1783. It's way too cheap. It's $20 or less. I screamed from the mountaintops. We needed to charge a premium for our small batch, but I lost that battle. To your benefit, they didn't raise the price. Any other questions?
What's the toasted barrel recipe?
It is a finish in the toasted barrel, so it's the same recipe as the HH Red. 8 to 12-year-old dump, 300 barrel dump. So 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. It's just finished in that toasted barrel for 2 more months. Awesome. It's an awesome expression.
All right, so hey, we've got a little bit more of the program left. I know no one cares, but I'm not stopping. Did everybody get a Heaven Hill hat? Because Heaven Hill brought enough for everybody. I want to make sure you get one to take home. Thank you for that. All right, so we're going to do a drawing for an Elijah Craig golf bag. No, you're not. Bernie.
Here you go, Bernie. Here's a ticket.
Yeah, you need a $10 bill tied to that. Okay, so what we're going to do is draw for the golf bag. Does anybody golf here? does anybody have a handicap of less than 10?
On the front nine I do. 10 drinks.
18 holes. All right, so Bernie's gonna draw.
Suzanne's less than 10. She can't.
Suzanne can't play, she's a member of the family. Okay, so we're gonna draw for the golf bag now. All right, Bernie. 33. You must be a premium member to win. Damn. 246142. 246142. Must be present to win. All right, you're a loser, whoever you are. All right, hold on for a second. Hold on.
Are you a premium member?
Fuck.
That's rigged. It's rigged.
I swear to God.
It's a fake. It's a calculator.
Hey, by the way, we don't draw our own raffle tickets for our thing.
No. Hold on. That ticket was for J. Paul Tucker.
Yeah.
And he gave me his ticket and said, would you hold it in case I win? And that's not my ticket. I don't even golf. And leading the boo course is the Left Coast out of California. That is Paul Tucker. He wins. I was holding his ticket for him. True story. Bernie, now hold on. And I've got closing notes. Alex has a question, and it may be a no. I don't know.
I hear you're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You sure not. Can we hear a bit? A bit.
I've been doing it all day. Hey, do the old
Well,
stuff.
from 1985 to 2005, I was a touring stand-up comic. So if anybody listens to Bob and Tom, you have heard my stuff on Bob and Tom. So it's one of the most requested songs in the history of Bob and Tom. The guy who takes his girlfriend to the airport and ends up screwing her sister. So that's why I'm screwing your sister. I love your nieces to pieces. That's me. All right. And then at Christmas time, this past year, when they did Bourbon and Beyond last year, and I did it live at the Fraser Museum, and if you hear the song Santa Claus is a Dick, that's me.
Hey, tell us your most offensive joke.
Holy sheep dip, we just went off the rails.
Jesus take the wheel.
Bernie Lovers, Heaven Hell, thank you so much. Bernie, you're fabulous. So let me just tell you what's next. That actually was my ticket that won. No, I did it. That was Tucker's. It was. Okay, so let me tell you what we have next. August 21st is our next event here at Joe's right here. Uncle Nearest will come up from Lynchburg. They're going to pick up Thomas and his sister and drive up with them. And McBourbon wife. They're going to bring McBourbon from Murfreesboro. Uncle Nearest is August 21st. Make sure you come. If you don't know the story of Jack Daniels and Nearest Green, look it up. It'll blow your mind. Raise your hand if you don't know the story of Uncle Nearest. Be honest. Raise your hand. Look it up. Jack Daniels learned how to make whiskey from a slave on the same plantation. His name was Nearest Green, and they called him Uncle Nearest. And they have one of the hottest, fastest growing brands in America now, and they're coming up to present. And Shayna McGilberry, who's part of the Ladies Whiskey's Task Force, is the third great granddaughter of Nearest Green, and she's going to come and introduce them. So make sure you come to that. September 11th, the 20th anniversary of 9/11, we're going to be up in Columbus with Watershed, and the ladies are going to do a barrel pick. Yeah. Hey, girls, don't screw it up. I'm just joking. September 20th to the 24th, we've got a field trip, and there's room for 2 couples if you're interested. I'm going to take all names of interested people. The Bachmans have already committed with Suzanne and me, but we're going out to Aspen to Marble Distilling as their guests to pick a barrel, and we're going to stop and spend time with A.B. Laws in Denver. And the flight is not comp, but all of the stuff out there pretty much is comp as guests of Big Bourbon Club. So if you and a friend or significant other can join us in Denver and Aspen, or it's Marble, Colorado, for 4 days, give me your name and we're going to draw. The Bachmans and the Higgins are chaperoning, and it's going to be unreal. We're going to miss, all right, we're going to miss that on September 21st, here at Joe's, Old Forester will come and present. Press will be your manager and MC. We're going to taste the Whiskey Row series, 1870, 1897, 1910, 1920, Old Forester. October 5th, we have a pick at Maker's Mark. And I believe we have several slots that we're going to have available to go down to Loretta in a mint julep bus, pick a barrel. Knob Creek is November 9th to do a presentation and tasting, and we have several, probably 8 barrel picks coming up. That's it. Thank you all for coming. Go big or go home.